Hi everybody, I'm back. We're back. It had been a while since I posted and I took a little bit of a break, but I'm so excited because today we are talking to our Enneagram 3s. They are called the Successful Achievers. You're going to hear me talk about the soul child theory this episode, which is really cool because I found out that my soul child was a 3. And yes, you'll hear me explain all of that. I won't get into that. But I want to talk to you a little bit about who 3s are. So they're called the Successful Achievers. Type 3s are people who measure themselves by external achievement and the roles that they play. They may be goal-oriented, accomplished, and excel at what they do, or they can embellish the truth, be overly competitive, and focused only on their own accomplishments. Their core fear is being exposed as or thought incompetent, inefficient, or worthless, failing to be or appear successful. Their core desire is having high status and respect, being admired, successful, and valuable. And their core weakness is deceit, deceiving themselves into believing that they are only the image they present to others, embellishing the truth by putting on a polished persona for everyone, including themselves, to see and admire. And their core longing is you are loved for simply being you. So excited for you guys to meet our 3s, Bethany and Bryan. Enjoy. But thank you guys so much for doing this.
Yeah, super excited.
Bethany, I don't know you very well. We've only met like once. I think
I
at
know.
Tanya's graduation.
I believe so. Yep.
That's
But
awesome.
she told me lots about you. So
Same
I hear you're
here.
great.
I feel like I know you, but I don't really know you.
I know.
But I'm excited that you trusted me enough to say yes to this. So thank you for that.
Yes.
Well, this is exciting because we all have a friend in common. And I feel like she'd be so upset if we don't mention her name. So hi, Tanya.
I thought we
Hey,
were going
girl.
to leave it
Hey.
unnamed.
What'd you say?
I thought we were going to leave it unnamed, a mystery for someone to figure out.
Oh my gosh, no. This is fun because like she was telling me and Bryan, you were kind of talking about this in the group chat we were in, but she was saying how Bethany and Bryan are so different. And so I'm so excited to see the similarities because
I am too.
yeah. Because she was just saying, she was like, I don't even know. And then she was like, I'm really surprised that this is happening. So I am so excited to get into it. I'm also like very curious for this episode because I just found out about so I've been learning a lot as I'm like doing these, because you guys are 3, but I started from 9, so I've done quite a few. I just recently I did 4s last week and found out about the soul child theory. Have you guys heard about it?
I don't think so.
Okay, let me tell you. It's so interesting. So the soul child theory is that it's so crazy. Okay, it's the soul child theory is basically like you, and it's not, I don't think it's for everyone. I don't think everyone quite relates to this, which is probably why it's called the theory. So I always ask the question, do you think you were always your number, at the end of the interview, kind of towards the end of it? And I realize it has a name now. And it means basically like you kind of grew into your number and you were a different number when you were younger, but something happened, some trauma or whatever, that kind of made you the number that you are. Well, mine is a 3 and I'm a 9, if you didn't know. But my soul child number is a 3. And when I read into it, you guys, I was like, I about cried. Like I was going like I was because it was like one of those things where I would always tell this story or just like this experience for me, and I just didn't know that I had a name, and it was literally that I was like a 3 growing up. And so basically like I was very much a dreamer and a like go-getter, and I just like thought that I could take on the world. I remember just like growing up. And then as time went on, I had people tell me that I was kind of full of myself, or
I had people kind of discourage me in my dreams, and I'm very easily discouraged. And so it kind of retreated to me being like, oh, no, like, I don't want that conflict in my life. Like, I don't want people to think that I'm this way when I'm not. And so I retreated, and I kind of became a 9. And that's just kind of like the shift that happened. So wow. I'm going to ask you that question later. I'm so interested in seeing like what you guys think. But yeah, and I actually don't know. I should look it up. Soul child for a 3, because I don't know if it's the other way around. I forget.
I'm interested to see what your wing is, Bethany.
You can say it.
Yeah.
Oh, can we say? I didn't know if it was like a big reveal or anything like that.
No, you can say your wing.
So I'm a strong wing 4.
Okay.
Oh, okay, cool.
What's yours, Bryan?
What is your wing?
2.
I can see that.
Do you feel like you're pretty even, or like are you heavily a 2?
I'm most definitely a 3. Like the 2 is like once in a blue moon, I feel like. Like I think I'm very strong 3.
Okay. That's interesting.
Think, Bethany, you said you had a strong wing?
Yeah, it's like I don't really believe in, well, I took the test whenever I was like just getting into the Enneagram, but now seeing it more like play out in my life. Well, first off, when I took the test, I was 1 point from being a 4. Like my 3 and 4 were like right there.
Oh, wow.
And then just like in different situations, I can just really see my 4 wing always tapping me on the shoulder, wanting to be the lead. And so it's like they say a 3 wing 4 and then an 8 wing 9 or vice versa are some of the most complex areas on the Enneagram, because those are the 2 like conflicting areas, like numbers. It just made so much sense because I always felt like my 4 was always tapping me on the shoulder and wanting to be the lead. Or like the 4 like calling me out as a 3, like, hey, you're like performing a lot right now, and is that really who you are?
Dang.
So, yeah.
I feel that.
It's like my 4 like calls me out. So
it's so crazy because like I'm a 9 wing 8, and I totally agree with the conflicting part of it. Yeah. Because I as a wing 8, when I see injustice, I want it fixed, but I don't want to be the one confronting it. So I'm like,
interesting.
Somebody please fight for me.
I'll take care of it.
Also, like I'm upset and angry. What did you say, Bethany?
You're like mobilizing other people to like go do the work,
Yes, yeah. And that's why I love Tanya so much, because she doesn't care. She'll just go for it. And
she does not.
She has fought for me. So I appreciate that in our friendship. So you kind of talked a little bit about this as we were chatting, but how did you find out that you were a 3? What was your reaction? What did you feel? And I know that you guys, Bethany, you kind of touched a little bit on it, but if you could just like expand.
Yeah. So I took 2 different tests, like 3 months apart, and like they all came back as a 3. And then I started like listening to more podcasts and like getting really into it. Then I started reading more about the 3 like in depth. And so whenever it said that, 3s have a strong desire to be seen and to be valued in what they do, I was like, that they know me, like, and so when I read those things, I like looked back on all these different things of like wanting to be seen, trying to perform to be seen. And it just made so much sense. It made so much sense because I'll like subconsciously I would realize what I was doing, like, oh, I just like want to be seen. Like, why do I just want to be seen, And the Enneagram just like put a narrative to that was just so eye-opening. So
wow, that's incredible and totally relatable. Bryan.
Yeah, so for me, I love like self-inventory quizzes, like everything, like on BuzzFeed, like what taco topping are you? Like I'm all in it. Like I want to know everything. And like I found out about the Enneagrams whenever Cam and Cheyenne and Tanya, everybody was talking about it. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. And then whenever I found out I was a 3, I immediately went to the negatives, like what is an unhealthy 3? And I just felt so attacked. I was like, how dare you? How do you know me so well? Wow. But I definitely like started seeing a lot of it. And then just looking back at my testimony and just like things that I struggled with in the past, realizing like, oh, wow, like there is a lot of unhealthy 3 characteristics that I showed in my testimony. So it made sense, kind of like what Bethany was saying. It put a narrative to like what I had been feeling and what I had been going through.
Yes. And 3s, they're called the achievers.
Yeah.
So once you kind of read about your number and like you said, like kind of like took some inventory and saw the good, saw the bad, what do you think was your favorite part or is your favorite part about being a 3?
Bryan, you can go.
I think for me, my favorite part about being a 3 is just that there's like, I guess the healthy part of the 3 is just that like you're never really satisfied with where you're at. There's never really like that sense of consistency that you're okay with. Like you're always striving to be better, striving to get somewhere else. And I think when I think about like, you know, like my walk with Jesus or like my relationships with people, I'm never just like satisfied with like being stagnant. Like I'm always like, how can I do better at this? How can I better my walk with Jesus? How can I better this friendship? How can I like be a better person? So I feel like that's one of my favorite parts about being a 3 is just never being okay with being where I'm at.
Yeah. Not being satisfied where you're at. That's really interesting. And just like always striving to be better and to like go better. That's awesome. Bethany.
That's like, I'd say like my second favorite part is like the productivity rate because I just get a lot done and I'm very satisfied with it. And so, but at the same time, it's also my weakness. Like whenever I'm sitting quiet with friends and I'm trying to like pay attention to like a conversation and I'm thinking like how many other things I could be doing and accomplishing instead of like just sitting there. And I'm like, no, people are important. You know, like people are the most important than like productivity and like other things, you know, probably like completely honest, you know? And so, but I think my favorite part is probably the performance side of it, just in a sense being a chameleon whenever I need to. And so like, for example, I like in probably like my early 20s, I'm 28, FYI. I just put myself out there. But like earlier 20s, I had some friends that were like pretty introverted. And so when I was around them, I felt like just such a performer because they always loved to laugh at my jokes or like laugh at me. Like they were more introverted, right? And so
Yes.
if we weren't having a fun enough time, whatever we were doing, then I was going to like step into the, you know, humor like role or whatever and make them laugh. And it was so satisfying because I was like, oh, like, you know, they're having a good time now. And I just like want everyone to have a good time. So whether that be like being on the back burner or performing and stepping it up and like being the life of the party, I can in a sense do that, if that makes sense. So
yes, that sounds a lot like Bryan.
Okay, there's one similarity, you know?
Yes. Bryan,
Yeah.
I feel like you were nodding the whole time she was saying that.
Yeah, I was like relatable. Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And to mention like Tanya, I feel like because she's a lot of the life of the party, like a lot of times it's kind of relaxing to be with her at a place because she's the life of the party. And I'm like, Tanya's got it. Like, I'm good. Like, I can just sit back here and chill. I don't have to perform. You know what I mean?
That's
So,
awesome.
I mean, I don't mind like stepping into that role, but it's like, you know, it's nice just to like chill.
Yeah. And it kind of sounds like the 7s a little bit because I feel like 7s can be the same and like they totally want to like be the life of the party and like entertain. So I think that's interesting. It just kind of reminded me of that. But yeah, I totally see that. That's really cool. And she does. She is loud and awesome. So
She is.
and she has that 7 wing. So
very strong.
yeah. So then what do you think is your least favorite part about being a 3?
Least favorite part about being a 3. There's a lot. Yikes. I think probably my least favorite part about being a 3 is just that competitor side of it. I feel like sometimes whenever I'm around people and like I have a lot, I feel like I do have a lot of high energy friends like Tanya, Maria, like Jordan. Like I feel like I have a lot of high energy friends, and I feel like a lot of the times like the competitor in me is like I need to be louder than them. I need to be like, you know, like doing like kind of matching up with their level of energy and like trying to like so much, I guess, be accepted the same way that they're being accepted by it, or like I don't know if that makes sense. Like I feel like it's always like, okay, like everybody's watching, like am I gonna be as loud as them? Am I gonna like be a wallflower? Am I gonna like make my presence known? And sometimes I guess it gets a little like exhausting, like having to have those thoughts. I don't know if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. Yes. Yes,
That's
for sure.
interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, probably the least favorite thing is caring too much about what people think, or caring too much about just being seen, you know? It's just
Yeah.
like, I'm like, this is annoying. I'm like annoying myself because I care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure.
And it's so like, I think that that's where the threes kind of can become a little misunderstood. And because, and I'm saying this as a soul child, I feel like I'm with my people right now, guys. I feel like I'm with my people. And I said this with
I love it.
I said this with the fours, but it's because I didn't know I was still trying to figure it out. So I don't want to come across as fake or anything, because I was like relating to the fours a lot. But also, I found out about the 3 soul child and I was like, this is it. But I just like kind of like, you run the risk of people thinking you're full of it. Like,
Yeah.
because you have these, and maybe your motivation is not like, oh, I want to be, I'm better than everybody, or maybe it is when you're unhealthy. I don't know. But your motivation most of the time is not that. It's just you want to be that person that people remember. And sometimes it might come off as a way that you're just kind of being full of it, and it can create some problems. So I totally get that part of it, when you were just saying that you just don't know, like, you just don't want to come across that way. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, and that reminds me, because like I was processing my 3-ness earlier this year. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
That's good. Okay. And so I was like processing, and like because in my job I'm both like behind the scenes and then sometimes, you know, in the spotlight. Just depends on the project. And so with that, I'm like, why, like, what is it about being in front of people that I want? Like, why do I want that so bad? And so I was like processing it like with the Lord, and I just like came to the conclusion that like he created me that way, because whenever I'm in front of people, when I get to like, whether I'm like teaching something or whenever I'm like on camera, I feel the most alive in that sense. And, you know, I've heard of like 3s of like reflecting the glory of the Lord, and not just like, look at me, but like, look at me, but like, look at the Lord in me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Look at the light in me, and wanting to reflect that, you know? So, yeah, I was just like processing with my boss one day, and she was like, what just makes you tick? Like, what parts of your job just makes you tick? And so I told her, I was like, when I'm in front of people, I feel the most alive. When I'm like directing, you know, a film project, I feel the most alive, whether I'm like in front of the camera or behind it. If I'm like in a sense directing people and helping people make the project happen, I feel so fulfilled, and I'm like, this is my best life. So,
oh my gosh, I totally get that. And also, like, I feel like even as I'm kind of growing professionally, I'm starting to learn that that's where I feel the most alive too, when I know that I have a part of something. But I think when it comes to a 9, it's more like, putting myself out there is scary. So when I do and it's successful, I love it, because it's because that little scared person, like little child inside of me, is like, don't do that, because they're going to think that you're being too aggressive or too much. And that might even be like also kind of like a girl thing too, just because I sometimes think about women and the Lord, and it's kind of, I don't want to go too much of a tangent here, but just kind of like, we kind of are in a way conditioned to be quiet and to just kind of like be like in the background. And so it is kind of scary to kind of put yourself out there. And I think more so women rather than men do get misunderstood a lot when they're a little bit aggressive, because it's like, why are you putting yourself out there so much, and like what's going on? But whenever you do and it works, it's like so incredible, because you feel like you're doing something. And so I don't know, I feel the same way. Like, I've recently been a part of some stuff in our ministry that I just kind of graduated from my intern level, and I'm in second year staff now. And just being able to have that more responsibility and more direction has been so incredible, because it just feels great to be a part of something and have it be like kind of like a part of something bigger. So I totally get where you're coming from. And when you said that, I was like, I just felt like you were speaking to my soul. So yes.
Aww. That's awesome.
Love that. All right. So now we're going to get to the mushy stuff. And what, in your opinion, what makes you feel most loved as a 3?
Basically, I feel like in the simplest of terms, you know how whenever people are like, just tell me I'm pretty or whatever, I feel like for me to feel like loved and appreciated, like I feel like just words of affirmation are such a big thing for me. Just having that, like, that, hey, you're doing great, or like, hey, like, you're very important in my life, or like, you mean a lot to me. Just like simple words of affirmation to me goes such a long way, because it almost makes me feel like everything that I've been striving for in whatever facet, it's like there's a point to it. There's a purpose behind it. So like, I feel like sometimes I go out of my way a lot for friendships. So whenever I don't get that, I'm just like, do you just not care? Was that not enough? Or like with projects, if I don't get like a, hey, like you did great, or like, hey, this looks awesome, like I just start overthinking, like, I guess it wasn't good enough, or like maybe it just wasn't the best, you know?
Oh,
so
wow.
like words of affirmation, and then just like seeing that like what I'm trying to achieve is being recognized, for me, that's how I feel loved.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah. And words of affirmation is also like one of my love languages, which would make sense. So
yes.
Yeah.
Is that your top one?
yeah.
Yes. And what's your second one?
Physical touch.
Aw, that's sweet.
Gifts is at the bottom. I really could care less for gifts, honestly.
Okay. Good to know.
That's great. Bryan, I think I feel like we're more similar than what Tanya may seem. So.
She's gonna be listening to this like, what is happening?
It's like, I was wrong. Yeah, I would say definitely words of affirmation is like huge for me too. And like whether it's like non-work related or just in friendships, like, you know, Bethany, I just really value this part, like, you know, you as this role in my life or whatever it may be. There was one like very specific time, actually recently, when it related to work. And so we were on set. It was like a 6:30 a.m. shoot. And I was producing this Father's Day video that we were shooting for the church that following weekend for Father's Day. And so we were like basically interviewing these single dads who had an incredible story. They like served the Lord, served at Hope City. And then at the end, we like blessed them on behalf of the church, because the church wanted to bless them. Like single dads who, you know, were struggling too. And so at the end, you know, I was producing it and making sure we had the story on camera and everything. And one of my bosses, he was actually the one interviewing, and I was just like, you know, making sure that we got the right content. And afterwards we were like walking back to the car, and he's like a big bro to me, like one of my bosses. And he put his arm around me and he was like, Bethany, you're really becoming just an artist as a producer. Like you are really becoming an artist. And that just touched me so much, because he's like my big bro and I look up to him so much, you know? And I'm like, for you to say that to me, like, you know, I mean, he's been in like very, like, I mean, he used to work at Elevation, and I'm just like, you think I'm great too? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you kind of agree with Bryan then when it comes, is it more like words of affirmation, stuff like that?
For sure. Because I feel like that also ties into the whole being seen thing. And so whenever we are affirmed, like people see us and you're like, I'm seen and I'm loved, you know?
Yes.
So, yeah. Yeah.
I feel that. And it just kind of reminds me of like, even just for believers. So like for people who are believers and believe in like the Holy Spirit, like all that stuff. One of the most incredible gifts is words of knowledge and of prophecy. And I'm a words of affirmation person too. And I know that the moments where I feel most seen from the Lord is when I get a word from the Lord. Like that is when I feel the most seen, just because it's like almost like I'm like, okay, you looked into my soul right now. Like this is
Wow.
like, yeah, I needed to hear that. And so I'm like 100% there with you guys, because it's just nice to be able to know that somebody sees the work, or somebody sees the struggle or the pain, like anything. Like when somebody just takes the time and just sees that, it's such a huge deal. So yeah, totally get it, guys. That's awesome. So then kind of on the flip side, what makes you feel not appreciated? What do you want to tell Tanya? Just kidding.
Listen, yo.
Just kidding.
Oh my God.
Not appreciated. I think, yeah, I guess just like not being like affirmed, not being like recognized. I feel like sometimes like if I do something and then like it just goes unnoticed, I feel like I just wasted my time or something like that. Like, and I don't mean it in a bad way or anything, but I feel like whenever I really do want to achieve in things, I will overexert myself to make sure that it's the best thing, that like either it's like the best effort I'm putting in a friendship or the best effort I'm putting into like pictures or a video or whatever, like making sure it's the best of the best. So whenever I don't get that, I just kind of like start overthinking, like, was it just not good enough? Like was it for nothing? So for me, I don't feel appreciated when I just don't hear anything back, whether it be like criticism or anything. Like even sometimes I feel like criticism is like better than not hearing anything. So when I don't hear anything, that's when I start overthinking, like, well, what did you think? Like, was it good? Was it bad? Do you hate me? Do you love me? What is it? Tell me. Like, I just want to know. And so, yeah. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
I
so
must
interesting.
I must sound crazy.
No, you're not crazy at all.
No.
That's just so interesting.
No, it's like, we feel the most loved whenever we're seen, and then we feel the least like underappreciated whenever like we're not seen,
Yeah.
So I value time a lot because of productivity, right? And so whenever and this sounds like really bad, but like whenever my time is like completely wasted on like miscommunication, or just like, hey, like, are you are you like, whenever I'm supposed to like meet someone at a certain place at a certain time or whatever, and like they don't communicate how like they're gonna be 30 minutes late, and then I'm like, I could have gotten my hair cut. You know what I mean? Like, so I just, and not it, I don't feel like it's like I feel underappreciated in that, like, me as a person, I don't feel that. I think that's just like one of like the frustrations maybe as a 3.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
not really associated like with that question, but that was just
No, it
it's
is.
just like
No,
time, like time, so, but
Yeah.
still, like, the Lord's like obviously still working on me, like, Bethany, like, it's okay, I'll just sit here and read a book, I'll just sit here and like think and stop being a 3 so much and just be, so it's good.
That definitely has something to do with the question, because that's like you not feeling like you were valued. So yeah, I saw Bryan
And
was like clapping over there.
Oh, okay, look, I'm not. We all in here in this Zoom call collectively love our mutual friend so much, but she is never on time. Ever.
Tanya's about to be so upset at this.
You're calling her out.
I have sat many times in my couch just waiting for Tanya to show up, because I told her to show up at 9 and it's 10:15, and she said I'm on my way, and she wasn't on her way.
Literally, we were thinking it. You said it. If Tanya doesn't talk to any of us after this, we know why. She's about to be real mad.
She got mad at me recently because I got really upset that she showed up late.
Really?
We were supposed to go to the pool, And I showed up to the pool on time, obviously. And Sonia said, I'm on my way. And then an hour later, she's like, I'm just now leaving Huntsville. And I'm like, fam. And then she said, I just have to stop at Walmart real quick to get some stuff. And I'm like, you're already 3 hours late, dude. But I actually ended up having to leave. And she thought I left because I was upset that she was late. But I literally had to leave. But I was like, I was here for a short amount of time. I thought you were going to be on time. Should have known better.
She's so special.
She is.
But we love Tanya. We love her.
We do love her.
We
We love you, Tanya. But you're a little late sometimes. The productivity part, yes. Like, and I think that that's where, because I've been relating to you guys so much, and I think that that's where I'm more of a 9, where if somebody's a little late, I do just kind of chill, and it's not that big of a deal for me.
Yeah.
But if somebody's 3 hours late, that's a long time. That's a long time.
Or just like, I don't even mind like if you're gonna be late, but like communicate, like let me know so that, you know, I just know.
I live on my calendar, like my calendar app, and then just like my reminders. I have everything like what I'm gonna do by the hour, by the minute. So whenever someone doesn't show up, it throws everything off, and I'm like, I'm gonna be set back like 2 hours from now because of this.
You're a by the hour guy?
Mm-hmm. Which honestly, and it's not like I have appointments or anything like that. It's just like I'm gonna be washing clothes at 9:15, so I better like be washing clothes at 9:15 because at 10 I'm doing something else.
Wow.
So it's just stuff like that. I really love structure.
Are you a by the hour, Bethany?
I used to try, but I just like now I just have what I needed to do in my head, and if I ever stop what I'm doing, then I'll just move on to the next thing. So if I get to the end of my to-do list, which is never usually, but then I'll like just go on to the next thing that I wasn't like planning that day. So it's like, man, I've realized that I can be, in a sense, a slave to time. Like time is not a master, it is a servant.
Oh, wow.
And so I've just had to like really, really fight that out. Sometimes on a daily basis, you know, like before I go to bed, sometimes I'm like, man, like how many more things can I get done before it's like bedtime, you know?
Dang.
And so like I've just been really challenged actually by a book. It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry.
John Mark Comer?
Yeah. Have y'all heard of it?
Jeff Bethke. Because they both wrote books about it. And I listened to the podcast and it's so good. I just haven't read the books, but yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like high key changed my life. And so he talks about like putting your phone to bed at a certain hour, so you're not on your phone like the last 2 to 3 hours, you know, before you're in bed. And so just like resting and being, and not like we're human beings, we're not human doings. And so as a 3, that's like a constant battle. So
yes. And I recently too read or heard a sermon. It wasn't recent, it was quite a while ago actually, but I heard a sermon just about basically, or maybe it was a podcast by Jeff, or because they had a podcast together, so I'm not sure if I heard it from them or somewhere else, but about basically like allowing yourself to be interrupted. Like if somebody calls you up and says, hey, I need you, or I'm here and I need somebody to help me change my tire, or whatever, and you're just like, well, like I'm doing like blah, blah, blah. But to be able to just kind of drop what you're doing and go and allow for interruptions is such a huge deal, because Jesus did that. Like he was constantly interrupted, and he was walking and he was literally being like bombarded by people. And the disciples, they felt like were always like, leave us alone. And Jesus just always had this compassion and just this chill like, hey, it's okay, we're gonna get it done, and if it doesn't get done, then it doesn't get done. And it's like, why can't we be like that? Let's be like those people. Let's not be slaves to time. Let's let time be a servant. And that's so good. I haven't heard it said like that about time being a servant. That's really, really cool. Okay, so Do you guys think you've always been, so now that we're kind of we talked about the soul child and a little bit, by the way, your soul child is a 6. So do with that what you will. I don't know if you know much of the 6s, but okay. So have you always been a 3? And do you think there was do you think that maybe you have a soul child, or if your soul child number is true, or if maybe it was another number and something happened and kind of shifted in your life?
I think I've always been a 3. I feel like just reading up on the 3s and really like seeing like the unhealthy side and the healthy side of a 3, I feel like it's always been me. I feel like, like in 4th grade, we had a play and I wasn't the lead character and I got really sad and I didn't do it. Because I wanted to be the main character. I feel like I feel like throughout like my entire life, I've always just had that like I need to be seen or I need to be recognized for like what I'm doing. And I feel like before Jesus, I feel like it was just more unhealthy. I feel like I never had that balance before Jesus. I feel like it was very much an unhealthy 3 where like if I didn't get recognized, I was gonna have to like acclimate or like mold to my surroundings so that then I could be seen and then I could be recognized. So it was a lot of like pretending to be someone I wasn't around certain people to get that acceptance, to get that approval. And then once I like got saved, got to know Jesus, I feel like it's been a growing process of like being like, okay, well, that's very like an unhealthy side of a 3. Like, how can we get those like thoughts of like needing to be accepted and shifting them towards like being okay with like maybe not being accepted by everybody, but like being okay with just being accepted by Jesus. So it's been a journey.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've always been a 3. I feel like now it's just been like more balanced with the healthy side of a 3.
That's good. That's so good.
I feel like one of my earliest memories, as much as like when I was remembering myself as a 3, one of my earliest memories was like at 7. And so I grew up with four brothers. 3 of them were older, one older sister. And so all of my brothers were pretty like on the comedy side. They were always like the star of the show. They were always like telling jokes at the dinner table. And so I looked up to them, and we would have like, family night charades, and it was just super fun. And so I looked up to them. And so there was one time that like I tried to like tell a joke just like they did. And I was like a lot younger, and I just like wasn't like getting it out. And it was one of those jokes that was like funnier in your head, and you were trying to explain it. And then my mom was just like, "We're waiting, Bethany." Like,
oh no,
and
worst nightmare.
And so I was like, man. And I feel like that was like maybe one of like my first wounds as a 3, that like I just wanted to entertain or like accomplish and like be the spotlight. So yeah, I feel like I've always been a 3, definitely, and then hard wing 4. So
yes. What did you say?
Like a tangent story?
No. I mean, it kind of makes you reflect, like, what? Like, it kind of makes you reflect, like, where did this all start? And so that is so sad. I feel like I'd be so heartbroken as a child too. Like, hearing that, I'd be like,
it's fine.
Shifting gears a little bit. I know that you guys value time. You guys value time. You value productivity. And so I wonder what it's like to have rest, for you guys to be in rest. So how would you describe your most restful day?
So I take Sabbath very seriously, as much as I can, like, but it's like my one day to just really stop. And sometimes I still struggle with trying to like put everything on pause and even like turning my phone off. But a super restful day is one, sleeping in, not too late though, because of time.
Yeah.
Like 9 o'clock is, a good sleep. That's like sleeping in. Good sleeping.
Yeah.
Getting coffee and then like just sitting with the Lord for like 2 hours, and then probably going to a coffee shop and reading a book and a little bit of shopping. So that's a restful day to me. But alone time, like super, I don't know. I feel like I like teeter totter on like the extrovert versus introvert. But
yes,
Sabbath, I have to be an introvert, or else like the rest of the week won't be that great.
Yes, I love shopping alone. It's like my favorite thing.
Yes.
Because you're not like, nobody's waiting on you. You can kind of like take your time.
Yes.
That sounds, Very similar to what my restful day would look like.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I go straight 9 on the Sabbath. Straight 9. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Like I'm literally like I just want to wake up, and I also don't like to wake up too late. So like 9 a.m. is usually when I wake up.
Yeah.
Coffee all the way, ideally from a coffee shop, and yeah, sit with the Lord, shop by myself. Literally everything you said, I'm like, yep.
Check,
If I could like, if it's like really nice weather, I'd love a hike. Ugh, love that.
Yes, that too.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a morning person, so I definitely can relate. I don't want to, if I wake up any later than 9, I feel like my whole day's gone. So I
Yeah.
definitely love getting up before 9. And like, I guess in terms of restfulness, like I love brunch. So like going somewhere for brunch, like coffee, some, what is it? Crepes. I love crepes. So if I could have crepes and coffee, that'd be great. And then, yeah, definitely the same thing. Just like, I am pretty extroverted. I love being around people, but I feel like sometimes I just get very socially exhausted and I need to take a break to like be back to my extroverted self. So like I feel like, 6 days out of the week, I'm very much like high energy, like da 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 da, like going full force. And I feel like that one day, if I don't cherish it and like spend time with Jesus, spend time by myself, just really reflecting, then like those next couple of days are not going to be as productive, or I'm just not going to be that great to be around because I'm going to be like at a half tank instead of a full tank.
Yeah.
So that includes like hiking and like doing stuff by myself. I enjoy being by myself that one day. Any other day I don't, but that one day I have to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bethany's like, yep.
Snaps. Do you feel like on a daily basis you have to be an introvert in order to be an extrovert, or do you just need like one day to be an introvert?
I feel like it depends on what, like, I guess it depends on what that week would consist of. So like, for example, like whenever I was doing ministry for Chi Alpha and we had Welcome Week, which was basically like the whole month of August. It wasn't even a week. It was a whole month.
It was Welcome Month.
I feel like I had to take a lot of little breaks throughout the day to really like recoup, because there's only so much that, like, because when you're around people, you want to be like 1 out of 10, you want to be at a 20, but like you can only be at a 20 for so long before you're like, like I can't do it anymore. So if I know the week is going to consist of a lot of social interaction, then I'll try to force myself to be introverted for a little bit just so I can like recoup. But if I know it's going to be a pretty relaxed week, then I'll just take the one Sabbath day.
That's interesting.
Is that like you, Bethany?
I have to have introverted time every morning. So I like to get up like 4:30 and just have like quiet time, like just me time, like from 4:30 to like
4:30.
8.
Yeah.
And
4:30 to 8?
And then I'm good.
That is, I mean, I get it. But also, what time do you go to sleep?
My goal is like 9:30.
Wow. Okay. That's incredible. That's like what I want my life to look like, but 4:30. Ooh, I'm a morning person, but not that much of a morning person. That's incredible. Wow.
I love it. It's like the best thing ever.
That's also, Bryan, I'm curious, how has Sabbath changed for you going from ministry to marketplace?
I would say now it's a lot more intentional time with Jesus during my Sabbath. I feel like whenever I was doing ministry, like it was just constantly like, whether it was me being in community with like my small group or hanging out with other like staff members or other people like in Kafka, I feel like it was a lot of like, talking about Jesus. And it was just, I was surrounded by like, what have you been reading? What have you been talking about, thinking about? So it was always just going through my mind, like Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. So now that I'm in workplace, like a lot of it is work. So whenever I do have my Sabbath, like I have to make sure that that's like the most intentional time I can have with Jesus, because like I don't get it as much throughout the week just because I'm not with that community. So I do have to just be more careful to like, okay, like don't be lazy during your Sabbath. That doesn't mean, like take a break from everything, like be intentional with it.
Yeah.
So I just have to cherish more of my time with Jesus during my
Yeah.
Sabbath.
That is so cool. We talked a lot about your personalities, and I guess I talked a lot about my personality too.
You're a 3, Erica. You're a 3. I'm just
No,
kidding.
I'm not.
Own it.
I literally this past week, so many times I'm like, am I? But I think I am a 9, but I do have that inner 3 in me. I
You're a
definitely.
healthy 9.
I'm a
Healthy 9.
Hopefully. I think I'm getting there. I think I'm getting to be healthy and like finally speaking up and doing things. But I can definitely be slothful, like kind of like 9s are kind of known for that.
Yeah.
I can definitely be slothful and like just kind of like run away from my problems. So we talked, like I said, we talked a lot about your personalities, and we said a lot, but is there something that maybe you would want people to know that we didn't cover about being a 3? Something that maybe not a lot of people know that you would like them to know?
I don't know. I feel like we've covered it just like through our conversations, like about how we feel appreciated and how we feel like not appreciated. I feel like a big PSA to people would just like be kind of just reiterating that and like saying that, like in order for us to almost kind of feel like secure, like good in a friendship, like words of affirmation and just reaffirming that like what we're doing is like good just goes such a long way. I feel like for me, it goes such a long way. Just like, you don't need to like tell me every single day, like, hey, you're great, but just kind of getting that affirmation every now and then, like it helps us, I guess, feel like almost get a little peace of mind that like we are being seen and we're not just kind of fading in the background.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good. I think maybe this is a nod to my 4-wing because like of the authenticity desire. But like, cause I want to be authentic. And I think overall, just like every number like whenever you learn about, your number or a friend, I feel like it offers people to like extend grace to that number because they know like their weaknesses. And so like 3s, even though like we can really be seem confident, sometimes I feel like, we struggle with confidence. Like we can put on this facade in a sense, and I think like even just like with the words affirmation, it's not always like, this vain kind of thing. I feel like, it's how we're wired. Like we're wired to like reflect the glory of the Lord, and we're trying to figure that piece of ourselves out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I think also with authenticity, kind of like what you were saying, Bryan, is like not just like, hey, you're great, doing great, but like very specific affirmations, and not just like you're amazing, and just kind of empty affirmations sometimes, which I don't mind that, but I like as a 3, I feel like it speaks so much more whenever you can pinpoint something that I'm really doing a great job at. So yeah.
And you know who does a really good job of that?
Who?
Tanya. I really want to honor her since we like totally attacked her.
Well, yes.
Who knew she was going to become such a big part of this conversation? No, but she is so good at that, at words of affirmation. And she will look you in the eye and mean it. Like, I appreciate you because XYZ, and you're good at XYZ. Like literally, she is so good at just studying somebody and knowing like exactly what to say. She's very detailed in that way.
Yes. She'll observe people and just sit there and watch them and be like, you're this. Like, I like this about you.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Okay. So there you go, Tanya.
This is my favorite question, by the way, that you asked. This is my favorite question that you asked, just because I feel like when studying the Enneagrams, a big reason why I'm still like I love reading all about like the different numbers and stuff like that. I feel like it just like the same way that like we're kind of talking about like things, how we feel appreciated or what helps or whatever. Like I feel like for every number, I feel like it helps us just like really extend grace towards our friends. Like I feel like some of my friends, I'll get like, we could have a great relationship, but like they'll never affirm me or like pinpoint stuff in me, and I'll get frustrated. But I have to like realize like that might not be the way that they show their love. That might, and they might not know that words of affirmation is how I feel like love. So they might be in their head thinking like, oh, I'm being a great friend to Bryan, but because it's not the way that I want to receive it or the way that I enjoy receiving it, I can get really frustrated. So really like going through all the numbers has helped me really like extend grace towards my friends. And then I guess just like really like have that understanding of like, hey, not everybody knows that you need these words of affirmation or that you need this, this, and this. Same way I might be loving on people the wrong way. Some people might not want my words of affirmation, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
And ultimately like finding that security in the Lord and not other people, you know, like I think as threes, we can kind of struggle with that too. Like, no, we just like, we want to hear affirmations from people. And like, yes, that's great and healthy, but at the same time, feeling that like knowing that your security does come from the Lord and he can affirm you all day, you know? So
yes. And it's just like, are you listening?
Yeah.
So, but yes. And Bryan, you are also one of those people. I feel like, I've always felt so loved by you in that area, like with words of affirmation. And since I'm a words of affirmation person, I've always felt like as a friend, you've been really good at that with me. So if you've ever doubted, now you know. Okay, so this show is called Take a Little Coffee Break, and Bryan, definitely, I can't believe it was 7 p.m. and you decided to have a coffee. I'm very honored by that.
I have to go work out. So I need energy.
Okay. Yes. So with that being said, I know that both of you guys drink coffee, right? Bethany, you drink coffee, right? Yes. What is your go-to coffee order at your favorite coffee shop?
Okay, me first. Definitely an oat milk latte, just straight. That's it.
Nice. Do you have it iced or hot?
Always hot.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm more of an iced coffee gal, so I'll do iced almond milk latte, and I love that.
Nice.
Just straight, but if they have lavender, give me that lavender.
Yes. 100%.
All right, Bryan.
I like iced chais with a pump of sugar-free vanilla and then some either oat milk or almond milk. Love. And I judge places based off of their iced chais. Sometimes sometimes it's too spicy and it feels like I'm eating Mexican food. Like I'm not about that. Like,
Yeah. Well, chai is a very niche thing. I think I can tell when it's a powder and when I can tell when it's the real thing. And so I totally get you on that. Like chai, and I made some today. So instead of coffee, I'm actually drinking chai right now. And I try to, and I don't really like, I do have tea bags, but I didn't use the tea bags. I used the concentrate, like the Starbucks one, but I spiced it up a little bit and I put a little bit more cinnamon and nutmeg in it.
Okay.
And so also people usually put ginger, but I wish I liked ginger. I hate it. It's so disgusting to me. Like I can't do it. I can't. And so I put ginger at first thinking, oh, maybe it won't be like as prominent. It's always so prominent. And so I had to redo my whole chai. And that's why I was like a little late. Not really. I was on time, but like I was like, you were like, hey, I'm trying to get in. I'm like, yeah, I just finished making my second latte. I didn't get right. But anyway, thank you guys so much this was so fun. Thank you guys for taking the time and talking with me. Bethany, I feel like I've gotten to know you so much more, and I hope that we get to hang out soon. I really just want to go and hang out at a coffee shop now and kind of
let's
talk.
do it.
Yeah, so it was so nice to meet you. Like, I feel like officially, I feel like this was the official, because like back then it was like so, I feel like rushed, but I feel like we officially met.
We just like sat at coffee and
it was awesome talking. This was so much fun.
It was fun. It was nice meeting you, Bryan.
Yeah, nice to meet you. I feel like Tanya has like the coolest friends. We're just super cool.
We're threes. We're just.
And a 9, but we're all super cool.
Or like disguise the 9, but really a 3.
I'm like a closeted 3. Like I'm here.
when you're around threes, you know.
I was talking to Tanya too, like this is the last thing I say, but I was talking to Tanya and I was like, isn't it funny how the closest people in your life were either once a 3 or currently a 3? And she's like, shut up. She was just like rolling her eyes. She's like, ugh, I know.
Hey, 8s and 3s, like we jive though, you know, we have that same like futuristic thinking. So
yes, I learned a lot. Talking to you guys. So this was great. And yeah, I'll see y'all soon.
See y'all soon.
Bye.
Yeah.